So now we have all the mesh on. We're gonna talk about adding our ribbon. So I'm gonna put my wreath form to the side for the moment. I'm gonna bring in all my ribbon. Some of mine got pulled out, but that's okay. So you're welcome to do the ribbon in really any way you want. I'm gonna show you how I designed it. So I have four. You have four of them, so all the styles except for one. You have two. You have five of. So with this light teal paired with that plaid, I then paired this metallic orange. You actually have five of these with this super cute pumpkin design. And so you have five of those. Then you have four of the natural pumpkins with four natural solids. You have this cute leopard print. You have four of those with the four browns. And then I have the four burgundy with this cute little gnome with the pumpkins. So what I recommend doing is if you're gonna follow the way I do it, I would start with this pattern and place this one on your wreath first. And then we'll come back and fill in with these. Now, as you're working on adding your ribbon, as you probably saw in the video, it catches on everything on your table, including the ribbon. So you just want to make sure that you kind of have those ribbons set to the side. So when you're putting this ribbon on, you kind of think about your wreath frame as a clock. Now, there is something you need to pay attention to. 3 of your ribbon patterns have a definitive direction. So when you're adding these on, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to which direction you're putting them so they're all going the same way. That way, when you're finished, you don't have some upside down. If that doesn't bother you, then don't worry about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this like a clock face, and I'm going to kind of start like at the 12 o'clock position and put my first one in. I'm going to do on the inner. Then I'm going to kind of come over here to the 2 o'clock position, do one on the outer. Then either at the 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock position, I'll do another one on the inside. And then my remaining one over here is about 10 o'clock is definitely going to be on the outside. And what we're just trying to do is spread them around. It's not an exact science. It doesn't have to be exactly at those positions, but it just gives you a point of reference. So we're going to start with kind of gathering the ribbon in the center like this. And your second one. Okay. So it doesn't matter which one's on top, but you want to form an X like this, okay? It helps keep the ribbon more spread out, so you're not having to do an added step of separating them. But it's getting all bunched down, so you're not going to see who's on top and who's on the bottom. So like I said, I'm going to start around that 10 o'clock position. 12 o'clock position. And I'm going to go ahead and lay those ribbons into my open pipe cleaners. You can certainly twist it. You don't have to, because you are going to be tucking those pipe cleaners to the back. So it doesn't necessarily need to be twisted, but you want to go ahead and push them all the way to the back side. This will do 2 things. One, it will help you know where you still have to place open ribbon, but also it makes sure you get it to the back. So I'm going to pull those tight, and I'm going to twist like 2 times. Eventually we're going to twist it all the way down, but for now I'm not, because in case you decide to move where you place ribbon, you don't have as much work to do. Okay, so there's my first one. It doesn't matter if we go clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm going to grab my next set of 2. I'm going to come over here to an outside. I'm probably going to go right about here on this white. And again, I'm going to pay attention to the position of my pumpkins, which direction they're going in. I'm going to criss them over, and I'm going to put my pipe cleaners to the back. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over one last time, and then I will stop flipping over just because it's hard to focus on the video. So one of the things you as these span 2 and this one spans 2, this one only spans 1. And if you notice, it kind of rolls to the back side of your wreath. So you really want to make sure it comes to the front side, because obviously we want all the pretty stuff on the front. So it is important when they're just on this outer edge only to make sure you feed that pipe cleaner to the through to the second one. And as you can see, it's really pulling that ribbon to the front of my wreath. And don't worry if they're uneven with the lengths. You can always trim them. And so I'm going to twist that off, okay? So make sure, and that's actually how you can, if any of them are leaning out, you can correct it. All right, we're going to flip it back over. I'm going to grab my next set. Make sure I'm got that in the field of view. And now I'm going to come down here, and I'm probably going to go on my inner, my second inner. And what we're just trying to do is spread those patterns out, so some of them are the outside and some are the inside. I'm going to go ahead and cross that over and feed those back. Now you certainly can flip your wreath over. I'm just not doing it for the video purposes. All right, moving right along, going to scrunch. And scrunch. So now I'm going to come to an outer. So I'm probably going to go right here. And you will have time to still move your ribbon around, so do not fret if it's the pattern's not really showing at this point. The key, I think, right now is you want to make sure you're spreading out and making sure that it's all going the same direction. Okay, so now I'm going to again do this one on the outer and somewhere around this vicinity. So I kind of have this guy right here. Okay, so now that I've gotten those spread out pretty evenly around my wreath, I'm now going to pull one of each of the other combinations and start filling in. Okay, so I'm going to have one of the turquoise, the plaid, one of the natural, the gnome with the wine, and okay, and it doesn't matter if this, you can determine your order as you want to. So what I'm going to do is, it doesn't matter now how I position my wreath. You're going to work in a circle, or you can put them randomly. It's up to you. I like to work in a circle because it's just easier. I can make sure that I spread the patterns between the inner and outer, and I don't end up at the end with two the same patterns right next to each other and have to undo stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick a spot. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to choose this pumpkin, natural pumpkin. And again, it has a direction to it, so I want to pay attention to that, make sure it is going in the same direction as my other pumpkins. And so I'm going to put it into a pipe cleaner. Okay. And then I'm going to choose my next pattern. And so I'm just taking the next one on the pile. And I'm going to go to my next open spot, which happens to be this orange right here. Okay. Then I'm going to go for the next pattern, which I have is the kind of chocolate brown, the leopard. And I'm going to put that one on the inner one. So I'm going to go to this next open inner spot, which is right here, and put this one in. So now the next time I go to put this leopard print on the inside, I'm going to try and do it somewhere over here. So I will try and alternate some of the other patterns on the inside, just so that I'm not having all the same ones on the inside. And then I have our gnomes. Again, this one does have a direction, so you want to pay attention to that. Okay. And so with my gnomes, I have the pumpkins going this way and this way, so I want to make sure they're going this way as well. And I'm going to come here and set them in. Having a little difficulty for some reason. Okay. There we go. I don't know why it did not want to cooperate. All right. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to work around my wreath, alternating these patterns and finish it off. And then I'll come back and we'll add in the sign and finish off the back of the wreath. Okay, so now I've got all the ribbon on. Again, I'm not going to worry about finessing my ribbon yet because we're going to crush it when we flip to the back side. So now we're going to work on the back side of the wreath. And this is when you can have an opportunity if you missed any of those and did not make it around 2 bars, or it's rolling to the back, front, moving to the back, you can tighten it. you know, all those kind of good things. So this is when I like to use my tools. Now, again, it's not absolutely mandatory because it's pipe cleaners. You can certainly do it with your fingers. So for example, I can twist this down and just take my fingers and roll those pipe cleaner edges down. And the reason what we're trying